Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for the 31st of January 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we'll bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1. It's all about the equity market. After a pretty crazy few weeks, today was almost calm on the S&P ASX 200. The index ended down 0.2% to 6,972 points. Now, that's still not far off 10% below its peak last August, but at least things were just a little calmer today. The tech stocks did well, continuing their gains from late last week. Both WiseTech Global and Xero were sold off last week, but today they jumped to 5.3% and 3.3% respectively. REA Group was up more than 2%. The financial stocks were the worst performers. ANZ was off more than 3%, Commonwealth Bank fell 1.8%, while National Australia Bank and Westpac both dropped around 1.5%. Easily the worst performer on the market today was protective equipment maker Ansell. Its share price ended down more than 13% after it said demand for its products had fallen and it was experiencing supply chain problems. By contrast, four-wheel drive accessories business ARB said revenue for the 6 months to the end of December was up around 27%. Not COVID, nor supply chain delays in the automobile industry had dampened the group's earnings. Its share price ended up more than 8% today. On to story number 2, it's all about the Australian dollar. It's rebounded somewhat after falling to an 18-month low over the weekend. The reason for the stronger performance today is expectations that the Reserve Bank of Australia will tomorrow outline a different view on what will happen to interest rates. Until now, the central bank has stuck to its view that rates won't rise until 2024, and only when wages growth is sustainably around 3 to 4%. But given the strength in the labour market and the relatively high inflation figures outlined last week, the pressure is on the Reserve Bank to change tack. If it does, the Aussie dollar is likely to get a boost. While there's plenty of short-term volatility in the market, the consensus view among economists is that overall, higher commodity prices will boost the currency through 2022. On to story number 3. The federal government is considering rolling out 4th doses of vaccines for older Australians. At the moment, only immunocompromised Australians are eligible for a 4th dose, but with a disproportionate number of older Australians dying from COVID, the government is thinking about expanding the 4th shot. There were 13,000 cases and 27 deaths recorded in New South Wales today. In Victoria, there were 10,000 cases and 8 deaths, 7,500 cases and 3 deaths in Queensland, and 1,500 cases in South Australia, as well as 6 deaths. The ACT recorded almost 540 cases, but no deaths. Story number 4, property funds manager Charter Hall has bid almost $1.3 billion for office and industrial landlord Irongate Group. While much mergers and acquisitions activity paused over Christmas, today's bid certainly gets things moving again. Interesting that there's demand for office buildings, notwithstanding the changed working habits due to COVID. And finally, story number 5 today, get ready for some ugly scenes in Canberra. Hundreds of anti-vaccine protesters gathered in front of the entrance to Parliament House today. They would have entered but were blocked by police. The protesters included truck drivers, anti-vax activists and members of the so-called Sovereign Citizens Movement. Activists said there will be more protests in coming days with convoys set to arrive and park their vehicles on the parliamentary lawn. That's it for the afternoon report for Monday the 31st of January 2022. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning for the Tuesday edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.